And welcome back to Hot and Cold Podcast. Today, this is the day. This is probably our best episode of the year. If I had to guess, we did this last year and it went amazing. So I'm very excited for today. It is Tuesday, March 15th. The tournament starts tonight. Somebody on this podcast team is actually playing tonight, so it'll be a lot of fun. I think he is going. Connor's joining me today. Connor, you're going to the game tonight, correct?
Yes.
How excited are you? Scale 1 to 10.
I'm extremely nervous.
You're nervous?
Oh, 100%. I don't want to jinx it by going. It was just too good of an opportunity not to go. But yeah, nervous. Yeah, it's been a while. March feeling, on the
been a while for me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just playing meaningful games is different. I haven't really know what it's like, and it's a new feeling and it's nerve-wracking, but it should be fun. I'm guessing it's going to be a heavy IU crowd.
Oh my gosh.
I would imagine. It's going to be a home game, I would assume.
Yeah, it is. It definitely will be. It's just a matter of, I'm assuming they pack it out, right? I'm assuming it's the first time IU's played in a tournament game since 2016. So I'm assuming the fans will travel. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot. I'm jealous. I want to get to a Kentucky game maybe Saturday. I would love to, but I mean that's going to be an expensive ticket. So I don't know if I will be able to.
Where are they playing at again?
They're playing in Indy. They're playing in Indy. Yeah, they're playing.
You're not going?
It's an expensive ticket. I want to go. I want to go. I'll arrange. So I'll probably end up going.
I was going to say, come on now.
Probably not to the St. Peter's game, but yeah, maybe.
I mean, I get that.
Maybe to the winner of Murray and San Francisco, whatever. We'll get to the prediction. I'm not jinxing the St. Peter's game. I'm not writing them off. Yeah. I've seen that go
Sounds
bad.
Like it.
Yeah, but go ahead.
But I will say, tickets now at the time were all gone. When the bracket was announced, basically. Mm-hmm. Now you got your resellers going.
Yeah,
which I think a lot of people were doing that. But where our ticket is, I got it for $102 in the 200 level behind the basket. Those are now going for 250. So
no, I guarantee it. You were right on top of it. I remember you telling me. By the way, check out the Spaces episode. We did an immediate reaction to Selection Sunday. It was a lot of fun. It was very Indiana heavy. There's a lot of complaining. Connor, are you still complaining?
No. I guess not complaining. Complaining is probably not the right word. Still a little disappointed.
Sure.
About maybe where they fell. But again, that's just probably expecting a different outcome from the process that we were. Again, I learned a lot from that, how the committee works. And I guess it makes sense that, you win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament. You're only going to move up so far.
Yeah.
Again, I like the road.
Yeah.
The bracket Indiana and Kentucky are in is actually, I don't know about Kentucky. I know you probably you might be a little bit more optimistic than me.
I think the top half, I don't know, but it can go either way. I think the top half of the bracket is a bit harder than the bottom half, if I had to guess. But I mean, you still got, look, I'm higher on Virginia Tech than anybody. I just am. I really like, and we'll get to that later. But Baylor's there, who's injury riddled, so maybe they're an easier matchup. UCLA, obviously, you don't want to see Johnny Juzang in March. Who knows what they can do? But then, you'll play St. Mary's if you beat Wyoming, and there's an argument that St. Mary's is the easiest 5. So
that's what I was thinking. And UCLA, they're so up and down this year. And if you look at the other 4s, I mean, I'm not going to say they're the worst 4 because Providence is a 4. No offense to Providence.
All offense to Providence.
We all kind of feel that way. But I mean, you've got Arkansas as one of the other fours, and then Illinois. So I feel like UCLA is probably the third worst of those, depending on how you feel about Illinois. I know Anderson's kind of in and out, not healthy yet.
Yeah.
And then as far as one seeds go, I mean, Baylor's probably the worst off right now. I mean, I don't think that's too far-fetched.
Definitely. Them or Kansas, man. Like,
and I think Kansas is kind of rolling right now. I mean, we did not expect the Big 12 tournament championship from them. I didn't expect them to do that. And I think maybe Remy Martin has finally decided he's going to show up and maybe contribute a little bit, which is
what a disappointment that tournament was, by the way. I felt like that was kind of
totally like it was pretty chalk. I mean,
besides Oklahoma, if Oklahoma beat Texas Tech, they're probably in this field.
Yeah. I think the only thing with Kentucky is the Purdue matchup. Obviously you couldn't play Tennessee. So your other options, if I had the bracket, I mean, Texas Tech. It was Texas Tech, Wisconsin, which I would have loved to have. The Wisconsin matchup would have been good. I think you guys obviously couldn't play Tennessee, so Purdue and Texas Tech. If you had to pick as a Kentucky fan, I'm assuming you would rather play Texas Tech. No, am I wrong in that?
No, we'll get to
what?
That. No. We've had this conversation. I like Texas Tech a lot. I think they're a lot better than Purdue. Look, I get the Purdue thing with the big men and everything. I'm just telling you my opinion. I think Texas Tech is a team that's built for March. I know their offense isn't great, but their defense is stout. I mean, shout out Mark Adams for what he did with this bunch. The stuff they do on defense is stuff we haven't seen in a long time. They're by a wide margin. Look, I'm not going to keep bringing this up, but I will for this episode. I have these stats here that I compiled in the spreadsheet. Texas Tech's defensive stats by a wide margin are better than everybody else's in the country by a wide margin. And so, that's really tough. And, Kentucky, they've had trouble with good defensive teams in the past. You look at Tennessee twice. Tennessee is a top 3 defensive team. LSU, they lost to them. They're a top 30 defensive team. Auburn is a really good defensive team. They do have some trouble. Purdue, near the bottom in defensive rating.
They aren't a good defense
in the country. Team. Yeah, in the country, they're near the bottom. And I think, look, I know Edey's big. I know Travion is stout. They're not great defensive big men. So I like where we're at. And I to be honest, we'll get there. I don't know if we'll even play Purdue.
Wow.
Yeah. That's just my opinion.
Who do you have? Because you probably.
Well, let's not spoil it. But anyways, let's get to. You want to get into this bracket, or do you have any more housekeeping you want to dive into?
No, let's dive right into it. I'm guessing we'll kind of emphasize our team matchup a little bit more than others, but
sure.
Yeah, let's just dive into it.
And I do want to get into the storylines of each matchup, besides if we can blow by some, whatever. I mean, Gonzaga, Georgia State. Yeah, I think it's a 25-point spread who I was looking at. Yeah, I don't think Georgia State has a chance in this.
No chance.
Will say I did this. Georgia State they're the best 16 seed, which is weird to have next to the best team in the country. I thought they'd get the worst 16 or at least a play-in matchup. They didn't.
Yeah.
So, but Gonzaga rules. Boise, Memphis is weird. I'm not saying I don't believe in Boise. But look, this team is really good, which is weird. They lost their best player last year in Derek Olsen Jr., and they came back better. Boise is ranked higher than Memphis, obviously 8-9. They have better stats, but you got to put into account for the players on each team. And Memphis is rolling. They're hot. We've talked about it a couple pods ago. They're scary. They have a guy, Jalen Duren, who's going to destroy Memphis down low. I can't pick against Memphis in this round one. And look, Penny Hardaway could get coached through a minefield and just get destroyed. That is a new saying. And I like Memphis right here.
I do too. I mean, I'm not gonna pick against Memphis. I really kind of pumped them up. I think that's Duran finally in their conference tournament had that 20-ish game, and it was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
he can do that. And I think, especially against a team like Boise, I think Memphis is just more talented. I think it does come down to Penny not getting out coached. Honestly, I think he's done a hell of a job turning him around. So I wouldn't expect him to like get out coached by Boise State, but I mean, I guess we can see. But no, I think Memphis will be fine.
Which would I don't want to get into the second round. There'll be so much content put into this, but it would set up for a Memphis Gonzaga second round, which is I think what we're all hoping for. Because look, Boise's fine, but they don't have a chance to beat Gonzaga. The only team in this matchup that has even a hope to beat them is Memphis. I think it could happen just with the
Memphis
talent that
could really the way they can. I think Gonzaga is probably weakest and most like I guess flaw in their team is probably their guard play.
Mm-hmm.
And Memphis really gets into your guards. I mean, full court pressure the whole game, up and down. If they start turning Gonzaga over, getting them out of the flow of their offense, then that game gets really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think, again, like I said, Memphis is not a team that a 1 seed wants to see in the second round just because of how much talent they do have.
Yeah, which I thought it was interesting they put them in that 8-9. I thought they could go as high as a 7. Honestly, I thought they were going to be, but kind of underseeded, which is crazy to think about. Uconn, New Mexico State. I'm high in New Mexico State as a 12 seed. Look, I think these 12 seeds are very good this year. Besides one who was kind of an outlier, I think the committee kind of got lazy in their seeding. We'll get to that. New Mexico State is 2-0 in quad one games this year, which we don't fall in love with the net, but that's really good for a mid-major team. And it sucks that they play UConn because I'm not going to pick against UConn right here. And I think UConn has a really, really good team and a Final Four caliber team. Not saying they're going to make the Final Four. I think they have a Final Four caliber team. And I'm picking UConn here. There is a 12-5 that I love. There's a couple actually that I can see happening. This is not one of them.
Yeah, I don't either. UConn is just, they're really good, man. Like they are really good. They're top, according to Ken Palm, they're top 25 in offense. They're top 35 in defense. So they're, again, if you're going to pick a team to like make a run, UConn is that team. I mean, they're one of those teams that's they're top 35 in offense and defense. That's kind of the formula you need to make a run. And
experienced guards, really good experienced guards too, by the way.
Yeah. And they're just, I think they are really, really good. Haven't been healthy all year. If they were, they're probably not even a 5 seed. They're probably higher. So
yeah, absolutely. And they're finally healthy going into the tournament. That's kind of the theme. Everybody's kind of getting healthy at the right time, which is awesome for the talent pool. Kind of moving on. Sucks. This is maybe my biggest, not my biggest gripe, but it's one of them with the tournament this year is Uconn and Arkansas being a potential second round matchup, because I think these are two teams that can make the Final Four. Also, Arkansas plays a very good 13 seed. I think this is second best 13 seed. Probably should be a 12. And Vermont. I think Vermont is very good. And look, Vermont is always that team you look at and you say, okay, they can they can win a game in the tournament. They've always been that. They get to the tournament almost every year, and they're that perennial team. Just not this year. It's a bad matchup for them. I think Arkansas, they lost some games down the stretch, or they lost some games early too, or else they'd be, a 3, or they could be higher than this 4 seed. And Vermont's a good team. I will give them that. They have a good offense, a good defense. I think that's, for a mid-major, that's really good. They're not going to be able to keep up with Arkansas. I'd make fun of Jalen Williams a lot, but Jalen Williams is going to present some major matchup problems for this Vermont team.
Shout out to Bryson. He and I were talking about this matchup last night. Arkansas, did you know that they were like bottom 20 in 3-point percentage? I think they shoot 30%
That doesn't
from
surprise
three
me.
as a team.
That does
And I
not
think
surprise
Vermont is like in the top 20. Vermont, Arkansas is just such a bad matchup. Like, I think Vermont can probably give them a game. It's going to be one of those that kind of goes down to the wire, but I think Arkansas probably wins just because of the talent. But I will say, if JD Notae doesn't have a good game, they're in trouble. Like he is, like he has to play well for them. Or that's why I don't really think they can make a run, like with the Juzang narrative last year. If he plays well every game, Arkansas will make a run. But that's why I am hesitant to pick them to like go to a Final Four or something like that.
That's fair. I mean, I just think JD Notae is a different type of player. He did struggle against A&M, which I think was kind of the theme. Everybody was struggling against A&M in the SEC tournament. But he did struggle. But if he can pull it together, he's a March type of player, where, you have your stars and then you have your March stars. And like you get a Juzang from last year. I'm going to keep using that because it's recency bias. And that's the most recent, example of that. And I think JD Notae can be that guy. Sometimes he struggles with consistency, but if he does what he did to Kentucky, they can make a run. I can promise you, because their defense is awesome. Like Coach Musselman has he's done what he can do with this roster that maybe isn't as talented as last year. I think it is, but we had this conversation in the last podcast about which team was better, or a couple podcasts ago. And I think this one is right there, if not better than last year. So, and look, again, like if we're talking about spreads, Vermont may be I think it's only 7.5. That may be it, like plus 7.5 Vermont. That may be the bet, because you saw what happened last year. Arkansas went on that run, but people forget they almost lost to Colgate first round. They were down to Colgate, and
struggled.
It could happen.
I can see the same thing happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they can make a run. I said in the spaces, they're going to the Final Four. I don't think they are. I think Gonzaga will, but you said Gonzaga, and I didn't want to have like 3 of the same 4 teams as you, because that would have been very, very, very chalk and boring, whatever. And I got some hate for that, by the way. And so the 11 matchup is Rutgers, Notre Dame. Gross, disgusting. This game is made for sickos. Not a fan. The game is Wednesday. Can't believe either of these teams are in over A&M, but it's fine. And I guess
I think I know why, though, at least for one of them.
Yeah.
I think, well, honestly, both. I think the committee decided really early on, because Rutgers finished 4th in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically saying, we are not going to have the 4th best team, quote unquote, in the Big Ten by conference record not make the tournament, like regardless of their early season losses. Now, I think the same goes for Notre Dame. I think they finished 3rd.
They finished 2nd, yeah.
2nd or 3rd in the ACC. I mean, they basically said they're in just because of where they were at in their conference, which I think is stupid and incorrect. But I think that's kind of
dumb, yeah.
That is the rationale. I think Rutgers rolls, though, in that playing game.
I'd imagine Notre Dame needs a big game from Blake Wesley, their NBA prospect. By the way, if Blake Wesley comes back another year, maybe transfers, he could be a lottery pick. I'm dead serious. Though. I'm dead serious.
He's South Bend is like,
he's kind of
he's from there, so that'll be.
It'll be interesting.
They have some decent players coming in. Maybe I can't remember if they have another player coming in next year.
I'm not positive.
Don't fact check me on that, but
I've seen Notre Dame play. I've seen Notre Dame beat Kentucky, and I was more unimpressed with them than I was going into that game, if that makes any sense. I just think Kentucky played terrible against them, They lost to a bad Notre Dame team. I saw Indiana roll Notre Dame early in the year. I'm not impressed with Notre Dame. The resume is good. The resume is actually really good for what they are, and that's why they got in. But they're 2-7 in quad one games, and Rutgers isn't even a quad one game. I'm just like they're not.
It's probably a quad two, I guess.
Yeah,
so I mean neutral, but actually I don't even know if it is because I think neutral is for quad two is
top 50.
No, that's quad one. I don't know.
No, top 100, top 100, top 100 is quad two.
Yeah,
and neutral.
I have Rutgers beating Alabama though.
Okay, yeah, let's get to that. So I'll go with you on Rutgers Notre Dame because I'm not impressed with Notre Dame. No, I think this is the first. This is the first thing we're going to disagree on. I think Alabama may beat Rutgers mercy rule.
Really?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at because I think Alabama.
Didn't Alabama just lose to Vandy?
Yeah, but they just got off their bad game. This is a volatile team. Like they flip flop, whatever. This is going to be their good game.
Could say the same for Rutgers though. They just got rolled by Iowa.
Yeah, but they're not as volatile as Alabama. Alabama can play they can play like the worst team in the country, and then the next game, go out and beat whoever.
I would assume that, and I can look it up. I would assume that Alabama's better on the road or on a neutral site than Rutgers is. Rutgers' record is like not great.
That's a stat I do not obviously have up. But I will say so. Rutgers is 6-6 in quad one, and let's see, where is Bama? Bama is. Did I just lose them? Where are they? Oh, Alabama is 8-8. So I mean, I do get it. Like I get that it's closer than I probably think resume wise. But this is just one of those games. I just think Alabama pulls away and beats them by a lot of
Alabama
points.
is not. They are 6-10 away or neutral, and Rutgers is 4-10. So, and again, not to pick on the SEC, but I mean, you do get to go play like Vandy, but they did just lose to Vandy. Hey, I was right on Vandy, by the way. Early in the year,
the NIT. They're gonna.
I was right on them. I was right. They were a sleeper team in the SEC.
They were playing great basketball in the SEC tournament. They were playing great basketball.
Arguably should have beat Kentucky. Scottie Pippen was what, like 3 of.
Yeah, he played terrible. Like everybody else was shooting really well, but he played terrible.
Yeah. If they had Dylan Dessou, why that guy left, I will never know. I mean, he thought the grass was greener over at Texas, and it certainly was not. Like, didn't play at all. But yeah, I don't know. Alabama is that team. I think Rutgers might get into them defensively and really aggravate them. We'll see. I think Rutgers can definitely upset them, but it's again that's not a game I'm really intrigued to watch.
It's a coin flip.
I just don't really.
Well, it's either Alabama plays terrible and it's a close game, or Alabama gets really hot and Rutgers doesn't have a chance. So like it's not going to be fun to watch. Like it's going to hurt the eyeballs.
Yes, either one of these teams is going to get destroyed by the next team we're about to talk about.
Let's move on to Texas Tech, Montana State. I think we're both high on Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech, like this is my lock, is Texas Tech, whatever the spread is. I don't have the number in front of me because look, if Texas Tech is better than the team, they'll beat them by 1,000, and I kind of like them. Like I think Texas Tech can make a run. They're definitely going to beat whoever comes out of that Alabama Rutgers game. And I definitely like them against Montana State. I don't think there's much upset potential there.
There's nothing else to really talk about.
So Michigan State Davidson is very interesting. I think part of the reason is because Davidson poached one of Michigan State's players, and he's playing fantastic for him. And that is a guy by the name of, hold up, I had it pulled up and then I just lost it. Let's see. It is a guy by the name of Foster Warrior. I don't know if you remember that name.
Yes.
From
Yep.
he's Davidson's leading scorer. They have a couple guys. Hangjong Lee is also really good. They have two guys averaging 116 on the team, and their offense is honestly, it's really good. I don't think Michigan State compares. I think Michigan State is hilariously overseeded in this tournament. I think if I fill out multiple brackets, I only have one out. I have Davidson in all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
After they just beat Wisconsin?
Yes.
I think Michigan State's playing some good basketball right now.
Davidson is a March team. They're a March team,
man. I watched them play in their conference tournament against Richmond and was just unimpressed. I mean, it was just an ugly game. Nobody could score. It was like in the 50s late in the game. I was like, okay. Again, this gets into my bias to the mid. It's like these teams just aren't that good. Like they're really not. And yes, they can get hot and make a run, but again, they never win it. So they're just, it's obviously just making a run in the tournament. And I think Michigan State's the better team. Like you said, Davidson has one of Michigan State's former players.
It's storyline.
Who knows that guy better than anyone? It would be Tom Izzo. He's
kind of the same deal there, though. Kind of the same deal the other way. Lawyer knows the stuff I think so. He's kind of the leader of the team. You watch him play. He's the point guard. He's the guy that gets everybody going. He did one of the most heady things you've ever seen at the end of the Richmond game. They ended up losing, but they threw the ball down the court and Lawyer was on the other. And while Lee was about to fall out of bounds, he called the timeout as soon as possible, and they were able to advance it like the NBA. It was pretty heady on his part. He's a smart guy. Davidson, I have him as the 12th best offense in this tournament. Michigan State, they're not really close to that. They're 35th, and I think it can really come down defense? To that. Deep line is. All right, let me check this out. Defense would be.
I don't know what I'm just curious. I didn't know what Davidson's defense would be, metric wise.
Davidson's defense is not very good. I will say that. So I've got a cherry picking here. It's 57-37.
I think Michigan State. I'm not going to bet against Tom Izzo. They should have
Tom Izzo and Mark.
They should have beaten UCLA last year. That's the funniest thing about their run is that game went to overtime and Michigan State just ran out of gas. I don't know. Again, neither of these teams are probably going to advance past round one anyway, but it's an interesting storyline for sure.
Then we get to Duke, Cal State, Fullerton.
Did Duke I step on your toes there? Do you have Davidson beating Duke in the next round?
I didn't say that, but I will say it'll be a fun matchup. It will be fun.
Your reaction of just moving on and not like talking like we did with Texas Tech made me think that you possibly have Duke losing in the round of 32.
I don't. I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be closer than you think. I think Duke is a team that. Do you have Michigan State moving on? By the way, sorry. You have Michigan State beating Davidson. That's fair. I think both of these teams can. It probably won't, but can beat Duke. I think. How hilarious would it be if on Coach K's farewell tour, he loses in the second round to Davidson or Tom Izzo? I mean, either it's sitting right there and it could happen. I don't think they get to the Elite Eight. I think that's something that's pretty out there. I think Texas Tech is going to destroy them either way. But how funny would it be? In Michigan State, he destroyed his perfect team with Zion, like his baby. And then in his farewell tour, Tom Izzo just destroys him in the second round. That would be fun. or even Davidson, one of those teams that can just get hot and just shoots Duke out of the gym. That's kind of what Davidson's kind of like that Virginia Tech team. They kind of are. I don't think they're as good as Virginia Tech, but they're kind of on that level. And I think it could happen. I don't think it will, but if it does happen, warning, Coach K is going to pull a Tom Brady and he's going to be back next year.
I don't think he will do that. You think he will?
Oh, he's so eager. He's an egomaniac. Come back, whatever. He wants it all to be about himself, and if he doesn't win it, he'll go for another farewell tour.
I tell you what, that class they've got coming in, it does probably have to. It probably sucks a little bit. He's probably just thinking, man, this team's going to be good next year. Like they have really, really good recruits, so it's going to be a hard class to walk away from. I will say, but yeah, Duke will be fine. Have they lost? No, they've never lost to 215, have they?
Yeah, Lehigh.
That's right.
Yeah, could happen.
That'd be even better.
That'd be so much better, wouldn't it? It'd be so much better. Oh. I mean, they've lost some bad ones, like in the past 10 years, even Lehigh, Mercer. Like those are two bad losses, and
maybe Cal State Fullerton. Maybe they've got a CJ McCollum type that can lead them to victory.
Cal State Fullerton is the second to worst 15 seed. I don't think it's going to happen.
So yeah, it's not going to happen, but we can pray. We can hope.
Pray. We can pray. Baylor, Norfolk. I mean, it's Baylor. That's fine. Baylor kills teams. They're one of those teams they kill them, like Texas Tech. Like those, it's the good defense in Houston. If they play a bad team, whatever. Just move Baylor on. North Carolina, Marquette, two teams I think are overseeded, like very much overseeded. I think the committee fell in love with North Carolina after the Duke win, which is whatever. Marquette, I almost had them out of the tournament. Like the end of their season was terrible. They had 12 losses on the year when they were rolling earlier. This is going to be an ugly game. Everybody's moving on North Carolina. I think I'm the only one on Marquette.
I got Marquette.
You got Marquette too? Okay, cool. Because they have a couple guys, Justin Lewis, Daryl Marcel, that are awesome on the wing. And North Carolina just doesn't have great wing play, I will say. Like they have okay guards, and Caleb Love look very inconsistent, and Caleb Love and RJ Davis, and Armando Bacot inside has been good all year. But yeah, I like Marquette a lot in this game, actually.
I mean, if you get Bacot in foul trouble, they've got problems. Brady Manick has been like unreal for them, though.
Yeah, that's
shooting
true.
The ball.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Caleb Love, when he plays well, they're pretty good. When he doesn't play well, they're terrible.
Yeah,
like really, really bad. So
very volatile.
I think Marquette. I think Marcel probably gives Caleb Love problems. And I think that probably would lead to North Carolina losing. That's why I have Marquette winning.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I think Daryl Marcel is a fantastic perimeter defender, maybe one of the best in the country. And I think he's kind of the key to moving on. So this is where it gets weird. So Indiana plays Wyoming. We're going to put some time into this. I think Indiana is sitting right now at -4.5 against Wyoming.
Yep.
Wyoming is an odd team. So this is kind of two separate cases here. Indiana was just out of the tournament a few weeks ago. They get hot at the right time in the Big Ten tournament and they jump in. And so Wyoming, who was probably just a 7-8 seed a few weeks ago, got really cold, lost a few games, and every loss in the Mountain West counts for 3 in the Big Ten. And so they got to, I think they're seriously the last team in. And it'll be an interesting game. Kind of the styles are, as much as we want to look for a yin yang in the styles, kind of similar. Indiana's defense obviously better than Wyoming's, but Wyoming's offense has really taken a turn for the worse. It's better than Indiana's by the metrics, but it's kind of hard to watch Wyoming basketball. I am curious.
Unique.
They're very unique. what is your thoughts on the game? You've probably done your research on Wyoming. You probably know far more than I do about the team.
It's basically a two-man show with these guys. It's Ek and Maldonado. Those are their two studs. They will post up literally every possession.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is unreal how often they will just throw it into the post to Ek or Maldonado, who's basically their de facto point guard at 6'7".
That'll be tough on Xavier. That'll be tough on Xavier.
I don't think he'll guard him.
You don't think so? Who do you think they put on him?
Miller.
Okay.
It's going to be like that.
Okay.
I think it's going to be like that Johnny Davis situation. And I think they're going to put Miller on him. I don't know how that's going to go. Him being 6'7" does create issues, especially for the closing lineup, which I would think Rob would probably get that task. But he's
shoot
a lot
so
of threes.
Much size. I don't know. Yeah.
Rob guards up better than anyone, I think, as for their guards. So I think he's probably their best option.
Yeah.
They don't shoot the three particularly well. And it is especially important that their two leading scorers aren't great 3-point shooters. So that is a plus. Look, I think Trace and Ray should be able to dominate inside. I think Indiana just needs, if they play like they have been, I don't think they have any issues. Again, the crowd's going to be behind them, I would assume. There's going to be like 6 Wyoming fans in attendance. I don't think there's going to be.
The whole state's going to be there?
It's going to, they probably don't even know they're playing. They don't even have like internet out there. I mean, they're probably just waiting for them to come home.
Josh Allen stands, though. Josh Allen stands will be in full effect.
I think Indiana, as long as they are one bad Xavier Johnson game, though, from losing.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, he has to play well, like he has been. And if he plays well, Trace, does his thing, I think they're fine. I think I have them beating St. Mary's too.
Okay.
In the first round.
I want to get back on this Wyoming game. I don't want you to get too far ahead. Their guy, Ek, their big man, how would you describe his archetype? Was he like stronger? Is he more athletic? Is he faster? How would you describe him as a forward?
He's a bruiser. He's a bruiser.
Okay.
He's not really like athletic. He shoots a lot of lefty posts. He's very similar to Trace.
Right.
Like, they're basically the same player, but I think Trace obviously has more athleticism than him. But he only shoots with his left hand.
Okay.
Like lefty post hooks all day long. He really struggled against UNLV. They won the game, but against UNLV, he really struggled.
Yeah.
And I think if they're going to tire him out on the other end. Like, UNLV was not throwing it into the post. It was Bryce Hamilton just going at him.
Yeah.
And he really didn't have to do much on the defensive side. That's not going to be the case against Indiana. So I think he's going to have his work cut out for him. But I think Trace should be able to. He's not like a Kofi either. Like, he's not a huge, like, they're about the same. I think I want to say EK is like 6'9", 250. I think he's got like 8 to 10 pounds on Trace or something like that.
Okay, then that'll be an interesting matchup. We'll see. Like, I make fun of Trace's skill a lot, but he probably has more skill than this guy. So I think obviously matchup goes to Trace. But yeah, I think it does rest a lot on Xavier and what he can do, because if Xavier has a bad game, it's not just you're losing his production, you're losing that and then some, because he's your point guard, turnovers, bad shots, whatever. I think they end up winning, I'd imagine. Indiana got hot at the right time, and maybe they're still on that. They played well in their loss. If they played bad in that loss, maybe I think of this game a little bit differently. But I think I do have Indiana.
I don't even know if they're in. If you really want to look at it, I don't even know if they're in.
I don't even think the committee took that game into consideration.
You don't think so?
No, because no.
I guess it was on Saturday.
Iowa's a 5 seed, which is beyond me. We'll get to that. At St. Mary's, Indiana, I want to say some things about St. Mary's, give a little monologue. This team worries me a lot because St. Mary's metrics love them, right? But you'd think with the St. Mary's team, they're not very athletic. They don't have incredible standout players. Their offense isn't good. First of all, their offensive efficiency is very bad. And what they hang their hat on is their defense. When you can't match up with the team athletically, you can throw that defensive rating out of the window because, like, no matter what you do, what coaching and everything, if you have no match for a team athletically, you're done. You're just done. And it's going to be, I take the under in this game, like, please. And it's going to be ugly to watch. I think Indiana should win. I don't know if they'll be favorites, but it'll be interesting because look, it reminds me a lot of that BYU team from last year that ended up playing UCLA first round. And you saw what happened there. I think Indiana can win as long as they're getting production from Xavier. As like he's the guy. It all rests on his shoulders, even if he's not the best player. That run was all on him in the Big Ten tournament because he was playing well.
Yeah, I mean, the one fear I have is that a lot of people are picking Indiana, not only to beat Wyoming, but to beat St. Mary's.
Well, it's a name value.
Yes. And people are like labeling them as not the UCLA, but people like they're picking it's this 12 seed
that I don't
thing.
agree with. I saw people saying that. I saw people comparing those teams. They're not the same.
Yeah.
I will say
no.
Play completely different. They don't have a Juzang, like they don't have anybody that's going to be able to do that. Xavier can have the run all he wants, but he can't put up the numbers Juzang was putting up. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. But like you said with St. Mary's not being a good offensive, Indiana getting a draw of playing a Wyoming team that's not very good offensively, then playing a St. Mary's team that's also not very good offensively is about all you could ask for.
Definitely.
Because I definitely would rather have Indiana be in a defensive, low scoring battle with the team than playing a team that's a lights out 3-point shooting type of team. So yes. So that's why I have them advancing, because I think they, in the end, they have the better players and they have more talent, which would set up nicely for a matchup against UCLA, I'm assuming.
Yes. No, yeah, Akron's terrible. I'll say Akron is.
I was to say, are we going to talk about that one? I mean,
they are like in my ratings, they're a 15 seed, and they got up to a 13 somehow. UCLA is going to run them out of the building. I hope nobody's taking this because I know 13-14 or 13-4 is a pretty popular upset pick. Like when you're talking about it, it's not as popular as 5-12, but it's up there. UCLA is going to beat them by 1,000 points. I will say that. Akron's awful. And UCLA, Indiana, you get to that. Obviously, we're not doing second rounds, but we can definitely talk about the game. I like UCLA because they can.
I do too.
They have the ability to kind of do what they did last year, win any game, any type of game. They're a chameleon in that way. They can play in any matchup. I don't want to bring up names from the past, but Miles Johnson is on this team, and
just about to bring him up.
Yeah, I don't think Trace likes that matchup very much.
Yes, the thing with Miles Johnson this year, he definitely is not in the same role.
Took a back seat.
He was. He started against Arizona in their conference tournament, it looks like, but again, he caused Trace issues. Cody Riley is a guy, though, that I think Trace would be able to have success against. He's not that prototypical big like Miles Johnson is, but yeah, that's not a great. Indiana would have to shoot particularly well from three in that game to pull off another upset.
Well, what I just like about UCLA is they really are a chameleon, and because they're kind of, they can shoot lights out on occasion and they can get really hot and they have the guys to do that, but they can they're also not really pretty boys. They can rough it up on the other side of the court, and they can really get in you defensively. And I like that about them a lot. They can win in any game. It's going to be hard for Indiana to do that. I think UCLA probably beats Baylor, or it will be close at least, because Baylor is so injury riddled. It will be very hard for them to make a run. Texas, Virginia Tech. This is one I've been all over. I love Virginia Tech. I think Texas is a mess. 6 seed is like, it's right for the seeding. Like, I think the committee got it right. But I will say maybe the worst 6 seed. Like, maybe. I think Alabama's better. No, Colorado State is not better. Yeah.
I don't even know is LSU even better than them right now?
6 seeds are bad. Oh God.
6 seeds are terrible. They are terrible.
6 seeds are bad. Yeah.
Like that's a very easy, like,
I do think LSU's better, but I think LSU
I
and
have
Alabama
a 6 seed
better.
winning in my entire bracket. I literally don't. I have all the 11s winning.
We'll get to we'll get to all that. This is definitely one I'm all over Virginia Tech. I love Virginia Tech in this game. They've really got hot. Their offense is awesome. My ratings, I know I keep bringing them up. They grew all the way to the 29th best team in my metrics, including compiling net, compiling KenPom, compiling all of this. I included February and March to see which teams are the most hot. They're 29th right above Providence. And this team, 114.3 offensive efficiency, which is incredible, going up against, Texas, who's 111, and probably going down by the game, losing guys left and right. Marcus Carr, obviously volatile. You saw what happened with Abilene Christian last year. Obviously different team, but like this team, I don't know if it's made for the tournament.
Definitely contrasting styles of play for these teams. I've got Virginia Tech too. Like I said, I just don't think Texas. It's weird that everybody thought that, firing Shaka would kind of get them out of this. This Texas team is a very Shaka smart type of team.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to the team that they had last year that lost. So it's not to say that Chris Beard isn't going to be fine there, but I don't think they took the leap that they thought they were going to.
I'm just as guilty as everybody in that. Like, I love this team in the offseason.
I kind of remind me of the Jaguars, how, not to make an NFL comparison.
Yeah, no, that's very
they dominate,
relevant. Yeah.
They dominated the offseason with quote unquote free agency in the portal. And I think everybody kind of fell in love with the moves that they made. I never did because of Marcus Carr specifically.
Yeah. He was more of a net negative, no?
Yeah. I really don't think he helped them. And then again, bringing all those guys in to different roles is just such a difficult. There's just not enough time. There's just not enough time to build that chemistry.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, definitely, I agree. Purdue, Yale. Again, Yale's awful. Please don't make this decision. Purdue.
As much as I want to pick Yale,
yeah,
I really do. Seriously, this bracket worked out perfect too, because either way, Purdue and Kentucky, one of them is going to lose by the Sweet 16. One of them will lose. Could be before, obviously, but one of them will be out.
Okay, yes, by the Sweet 16. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's factually correct. Yes. So whatever. Virginia Tech.
It's a win-win.
Virginia Tech Purdue is what I was really wanting to say. I think Virginia Tech beats Purdue. I really do. I think Virginia Tech can get hot, and I don't think Purdue wants that to happen. I agree,
but I think Purdue's offense is too good. It's not like they're going to not be able to keep up with Virginia Tech offensively.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Purdue's offense is very good. Yes, I agree. But Virginia Tech, if they get hot at the right time, I like them in that game. It's March. It's weird. I like this. And I think Purdue, Matt Painter in the tournament. Are you kidding me?
Again, yeah, I
Are
know.
you kidding
I know.
me?
I'm like defending Purdue. I know it's
This
weird.
is weird.
I would
This
be
is
all
weird.
over this.
You got to be all over it. I'm all over it. You don't have to be. I like Virginia Tech to beat them. Just saying.
It's fair enough.
It's in my bracket. Murray State, San Francisco. This is one of those games. I like Murray State. I think they're good, but I think this team is it's kind of the Boise State, man. Like Boise State, I thought their team was better last year. Like the players on their team, they didn't make it. I thought Murray State was better, obviously with Jaw and everybody. But this is, the best seed they've had in a long time. And I don't really know if it's warranted where they're at. I have them at, let's see, I have them as 35th best team, and I have San Francisco at 28th. So, like, San Francisco is better. I will just say, like, San Francisco is a better team. There's going to be a lot of Kentucky fans in that building rooting for Murray State. So it's going to kind of sound like a home game to be frank. It's going to be weird, but like Kentucky fans love their Kentucky teams, everybody but Louisville. And there's not going to be any San Francisco fans there. So I like Murray State. Even though they're not as good as San Francisco, I like them in this game.
Yeah, I do too. I watched San Francisco play again in their conference tournament. Just watching all those bubble teams play. They are fun. Those guards that they have are wild and are all over the place. But they are fun to watch. I think that kind of plays into what Murray wants to do too, though. Mm-hmm. I think Murray wants to play kind of that upbeat style of play. Tevin Brown is awesome. Yeah. I remember I watched him play at I don't know if you were there for that when they played at the Ford Center for the conference tournament. No, but I watched him play as a freshman when he was with Ja, and he was that sharpshooter. I mean, obviously the volume is picked up. He's really good, and their coach is cool too. Like
I love Murray, man.
He's a wild one.
Yeah,
and it's just it's hard not to root for him.
Yeah,
especially because they're kind of close to where we are from. So yeah, I got Murray. I want Murray in Kentucky. I want it.
Yeah, I think everybody does, and I think we're gonna get it. Kentucky, not to overlook St. Peter's, but I mean,
come on, let's not even talk about this.
Okay, let's not do
it. They're not losing the first round. Let's just stop
it. I'm gonna have to change where I'm sitting.
I'm not even trying to reverse jinx this. Like, they're not gonna lose. Kentucky is too talented to lose to St. Peter's. It's just not gonna happen.
I will say, Oscar, I tweeted it from the Tours on UK account I run. I don't know what his rebound prop is going to be, but I'm taking the over because he hasn't got to play against, small, like I think their tallest guy is like 6'7", and he hasn't got to play against like short guys in a long time because he has to go up against these physical SEC bigs. It's
Oscar
going
might not
to
even play in the second half.
that's
maybe like the first 5 minutes. Maybe take the over on the offensive rebound prop. He'll probably have like 10 in the first half.
Yeah, it may break a record. I'm not kidding. Like it'll be insane to watch. Murray, Kentucky.
Do they play zone? Like, you think St. Peter's just like packs it in, plays a zone against them?
But I don't really think it matters.
No, it honestly probably that could be harder. That could be harder to find a guy to box out when you do that. So yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be a rout, man. I'm not tuning into that game.
Sorry. You're not. I'm tuning in. Well, I have to watch.
Sorry to disappoint you.
I do like watching blowout Kentucky wins because like it's fun just to show off a little bit. But we need to get.
I haven't seen a blowout Indiana game.
Well, you got some this year. I thought you were about to say in years. I was like, well, no, that's not true.
Against a good team, though, I mean, it's been I don't know how long.
So Murray, Kentucky will be fun. In Indy, that'll be a fun game. I think
you need to go to that one, man. You got to go.
I do. I think Kentucky wins.
Buy the ticket now. You got confidence they'll be there. You can always resell it. I mean, I'd be dead serious.
I know. I really need to. Why don't I just go by myself?
Oh, you could get your dad to go with you. Get Walker or someone to go with you, especially if Murray's there. You know,
Walker's already going. He's already going.
There you go.
Sure.
Then there you go.
All right. Well, anyways, let's get into this Arizona versus whoever. Arizona, right? Are you doing research on ticket prices right now?
I am, but yes, Arizona. I mean, again, we're at a game where it's like, not even.
Yeah, no, that's fair. This one's interesting though. This next one, it's Seton Hall, TCU. I think Seton Hall is a little bit underseeded. TCU is a little bit overseeded. But that's weird. That's where the metrics kind of lie to you a little bit. TCU has a player named Mike Miles who single-handedly beat Kansas a couple weeks ago. And look, I think he can do it again. I think he's better than anybody on Seton Hall. I don't think Arizona wants to play TCU because TCU has shown they can beat good teams. So I'm going to take TCU, even though, look, Seton Hall has they have some ballers, man. They have some ballers, and they got Roden, they got Kadari Richmond. They have some really good players. But I'm going to take the experienced guard that can light it up, and I'm going to take TCU.
I am going to differ with you on that.
Okay.
I am going to take Seton Hall. Obviously, TCU had a great year. Underrated coach this year was Jamie Dixon.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I think Pitt to this day probably regrets firing him. Not sure why he was ever fired, but again, things happen. He's done a great job at TCU since he got there, but I think Seton Hall probably, I don't know if they have more talent, but I think I like them in this matchup.
Okay. No, that's fair. I think TCU is they're not a one-man show by any means. I think their defense is really good. Like, they have a very good defense, and they play good team defense. And so I think that will help them out. Seton Hall is good. Like, they're top 25 in these metrics. Their defense is also very good. Struggle offensively. I think it's a coin flip game. It really is a coin flip game. I think I wouldn't be surprised if either outcome happened. Houston, UAB. Am I the only one on UAB? I love UAB in this matchup.
I have UAB too.
Okay, yeah.
Houston,
I love UAB.
I needed a 12-5 other than Indiana because I'm picking Indiana, but I probably am jinxing them by doing that. I needed a 12-5 upset in my brackets. And I just don't believe in Houston. They're not the team that they were early in the season. I mean, they somehow are still fourth in net rating, which is just crazy. I know they just won their conference tournament, but they really didn't have to play anybody until Memphis. And Memphis was, they had played more games and they were gassed by then. I just don't think Houston's I think UAB is probably pretty underrated.
They're good, dude.
I don't know what their metrics are, but
out of the 34, I believe, games they've played, I think 33 were decided by 3 points or less.
I saw that,
which is unreal. It's an unreal stat, and so if you're betting, obviously take UAB plus whatever. And look, UAB gets at you. In these metrics, you look at all the automatic bids and all these compiled stats in which the mid-majors won. Out of all the automatics, UAB is the best, and they're better than South Dakota State, Vermont, Chattanooga, New Mexico State, Richmond. They're better than all of those teams in these. And I think that this is the team that you have to watch out for. This is the 12 seed that I fell in love with. I don't think Houston is as good as last year. I think they are. The committee kind of overcorrected with putting them at a 5. I think that's a little bit low. I think maybe a 4 would fit them better. But yeah, give me UAB.
Couldn't agree more.
Kind of moving on. Illinois, Chattanooga. Let's kind of play a game a little bit. Do you know who is on Chattanooga? It's kind of a blast from the past.
Who was on Chattanooga?
No, who is on Chattanooga right now. He's a former major conference transfer. Silvio De Sousa.
No way. Are you serious?
He's their big man. He's their big man. I swear to God. Yeah. So he's going to be a matchup against Kofi. This is what's different about Chattanooga. They have like major conference size. I'm not picking them. This is a bad matchup, terrible matchup, but they have major conference size, and I think they're a really good team. Put them up against Providence, I'd probably pick them. But if you put them up against Illinois with one of the best big men in the country, I don't like that. Some of the best guard play in the country, and Trent Frazier and Curbelo at times, I don't like that. Or Plummer as well. And so
don't say Curbelo. Come on.
They're
worse with him.
Yeah, it was the first name that came to mind. I apologize. Sorry. Some people were picking him as Big Ten Player of the Year preseason. Get out of here with that. Anyways. Give me Illinois in this. Is it hard to pick against them in this game?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Kofi is probably going to dominate, but he's not the only element for Illinois. I have them making a pretty good run because of Trent Frazier, because of Plummer. They have a glue guy in Williams. I mean, there isn't really a hole on this team. They need to get Grandison back, I will say, to make a run. That's going to be important. But if they get to play,
I remember you saying, sorry, I just completely cut you off, but it came to mind. You said that you like this team better than the IO team, right?
100%.
Okay. No, I was just wondering because I kind of agree. I think they can make a deeper run than IO did.
They're just more cohesive and they're more of a complete team, I think.
There's an identity.
Yes. And it's not just, again, that one guy. If IO struggles, where do things go other than Kofi? Everybody's just kind of looking at each other like there's clearly defined roles and people know when they have to step up. And if they get to play Chattanooga and then UAB, I mean, that's a pretty easy ride to the Sweet 16, I would say, for them. Like, I don't think that's probably about as good as you could ask for a 4 seed. And then that matchup with Arizona is going to be a really good one if they could both get there.
Sure. No, yeah, definitely. I like Illinois in this matchup a lot. That sucks for Chattanooga because they are ranked very high and they're good. Colorado State, Michigan. Again, you have all 11 seeds. That's funny. Colorado State, I will say, should probably be switched out with Boise. I think Colorado State is the third best team out of the Mountain West. And they got the highest seed by 2 seed lines, which is odd. I think San Diego State and Boise are both better than Colorado State. But they go up against Michigan, who everybody is kind of iffy on why they're in the tournament, why they're not. And this is the reason they're in the tournament, because they can win games there. I think they're going to beat Colorado State. I think they're going to beat them handily. Look, Colorado State has a player named David Roddy, who's fantastic. He's an All-American, third-team All-American. And I think that'll help them. But what are you going to do about Hunter Dickinson? What are you going to do about Cable Houston? What are you going to do about Devontae Jones? Like that, this Michigan team is much better than an 11 seed. Obviously, they have 14 losses. It happens, but they were, preseason top 5. Yeah, this is one of those things. Like Arkansas, Michigan, Memphis. Start off high in the top 25. You lose a lot of games, but that makes you scary at the end of the day. So I think
talent finds a way to win at some point in the season. Whether it's too little or too late is, a different discussion. But obviously, it wasn't for any of those 3 teams. And Michigan is scary. I mean, it's unfortunate that they're potentially going to run into a team we're going to talk about next. But I think clearly, again, the committee had them in before the conference tournaments even started. I think they had made up their mind on that, which again is surprising just with all the narratives that have been around the program with Juwan Howard and everything. But look, they are a top 15 team talent-wise. It's just a matter if they play like it.
I have Michigan. When I was trying to keep up with the resumes and everybody, I had Michigan as a 10. They were a 10 seed. Yeah. 14 losses is a lot of losses, and it's hard to really account for that. But I get them at an 11. I was one of the few that weren't complaining that they weren't in the first 4. So but that was just my opinion on it.
You just have to understand the process of it.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's hard to comprehend. I think it's a lazy process. I don't know if you feel the same way. The conference tournaments, again,
It's stupid.
I mean, what if they have to end on Thursday for them to have enough time to figure it out? Then do that.
Why do you have games on Sunday at all if you're not going to take them into account?
Exactly.
Like,
that's
why?
what I said.
Move them up a day if you're too lazy to move the selection Sunday to 8:00. Move it to a more prime time. Like, who cares, right? Like,
yeah.
Is that crazy?
I think if they moved every conference tournament up to at least Friday, which I tweeted out, got some backlash, even from some guy on from the field of 68, Rob Douster. Not sure if I'm mispronouncing his name, but he quote tweeted my tweet about ending it on Saturday. He said, well, Saturday doesn't matter either. I was like, yeah, probably true. It doesn't. But I didn't think they would want to move it up 2 days versus one. I thought one would at least be an agreeable, middle ground, but
move it to a day that they will care about it. Like that's all
think it should be Friday.
That was the whole sentiment of it.
Yeah. I think all the conference tournaments should end on Friday. That gives them the full weekend to, fill out the bracket, do it. Like, obviously there's not going to be major changes at the top, but that gives you enough time to really work in these teams Texas A&M probably makes it if this is the process that they use. So I think it needs to happen. I think it should change. It probably won't. The NCAA is pretty stuck in their ways in a lot of areas. So, but again, they still do a decent job compared to the College Football Playoff Committee, though. So, can't complain too much.
It's true. No, I think Texas A&M was the most blasphemous, an egregious thing that the committee did, not putting them in. I think it was obvious that they kind of stopped caring after Friday.
Yes.
They beat Arkansas. They should be in. They should. They should be in over Rutgers. They should be in over maybe Notre Dame. I don't know. Maybe Wyoming. It doesn't matter. It just, they should have been in the field. And they weren't. So, yeah, it was pretty obvious Michigan was in from the get-go. Michigan was in after their run. Michigan was in after they beat Purdue at home. They were.
Yep.
That's 100% true. That was, and what was that, almost a month ago? Gosh, time is flying.
Barring a collapse, they were in.
Yeah. And I thought they may be done, just kind of living in the moment. And we all are guilty of this, of kind of living in the moment. I thought they were done after they lost to Wisconsin. I thought they were, they weren't.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. Tennessee, Longwood. We're not talking about this game. Tennessee is going to kill them, but let's talk about Tennessee, Michigan. I think Tennessee is going to beat Michigan by a fairly big amount, like a wide margin. Are we in agreement here?
For the most part, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I think Tennessee is really good, though, and they're definitely playing their best right now. I will say it's going to be interesting. Do they play on Friday? Is it a Friday game for them, or is it Thursday?
Oh, it's a Thursday game.
Okay, it's not too bad though. It will be interesting to see if they have tired legs throughout this tournament. Winning the conference tournament, then going to play the NCAA tournament is a hard thing to do,
especially with the style they play is kind of just physical. Yeah, takes a toll.
It takes it. Yeah, it will take a toll. I think they beat Michigan. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be like a blowout. I could see them winning by 10 to 15, pulling away at the end.
Yeah, that's just kind of, I think they have the ability to shut down Hunter Dickinson, and I don't think Hunter Dickinson will like that. But he can step out, and that helps him a lot. If he's able to hit that three, it will help him a lot. Ohio State, Loyola, Chicago. You don't like Loyola, Chicago. I don't like Loyola, Chicago for different reasons that I said in last year's podcast, and I won't bring back up because it's probably an unpopular opinion, probably makes me seem like an asshole. But I got Loyola and Chicago in this game. I think they're better than Ohio State. Ohio State has been, I think they're tragically overseeded here. I think they're an 8 or 9 seed in reality. The way that they kind of collapsed down the stretch in the regular season, going into the conference tournament, losing to Penn State, losing to Nebraska at home, I think that should have dropped them a couple seeds. And look, I'm not going to talk about the committee not watching the conference tournaments anymore because it's whatever, but I think Loyola Chicago should be probably higher. Like, I think I had them at an 8 seed or a 7 seed or something crazy like that, and they're at a 10. And so give me Loyola 100%.
I'm going with Ohio State.
Okay.
I wanted to pick Loyola. I went back and forth on it. I think this Loyola team isn't.
They're not as good as
yes, and Williamson is really good. I just don't know, and I don't know if he's going to end up on Liddell. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Malachi Branham, though, is the guy that's going to have to win this game for Ohio State, I think. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of where Williamson plays 3 of the 4. Either way, I think there's a matchup that Ohio State can exploit. Whoever's on Branham or whoever's on Liddell, Williamson can only guard one of them.
Yeah.
And he's great and will probably shut down whoever he guards. But I think Ohio State is more talented, and I just don't think Loyola has that talent that they needed to make a run.
Talk about contrasting styles here too. Ohio State, they're heavy offense, almost no defense in the metrics. And then you look at Loyola Chicago, and they're almost no offense, and they're heavy defense. So it's contrasting styles as similar as you'd like to think these teams are, as close as you'd like to think it is. They're very different. It'll be fun to watch. It's a good matchup, first round. Not gonna lie. Villanova, Delaware, whatever. One thing before we get to the next region, can Ohio State or Loyola Chicago beat Villanova? No. Absolutely not. No. It's Jay Wright in March, man. And now he has his guard. Now he has his senior guard, his All-American Colin Gillespie. Come on. That they're just not going to.
Villanova, Tennessee is going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good matchup.
I'm back and forth. I think the winner of that game goes to the Final Four. That's my pick. I think it's Tennessee as of now.
Yep.
And it has been since I saw the bracket, but then I started thinking about Rick Barnes versus Jay Wright, and I almost had a heart attack. And I was like, no, like I hate this. Like I got
there is
terrified.
an advantage in the yes, we don't want to talk about the final format, but I think Tennessee, you go back to the Admiral Schofield, Grant Williams team.
Yeah.
I think this one definitely is better and more of a complete team.
Maybe, more complete, definitely.
I think they've got better guards, not necessarily the NBA prospects that they had on that Tennessee. I mean, they had
They had Jordan Bone.
Draft picks, 3 draft picks, I think, that year.
Jordan Bone, Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield were all drafted that year.
Yeah. So, again, I just think Tennessee probably plays more together. And I don't think Villanova's as good as they have been. I know they were hurt last year in the tournament, and they still were playing really well.
Right.
But they do have a ceiling. Like they
don't have
play
JRE.
about 5. They only play about 5 to 6 guys, which is not ideal.
They don't have JRE. They don't have a big man. Like Dixon's been fine down the stretch. I think what's best is they didn't have Gillespie last year in the tournament. People will forget that. They didn't have Gillespie in the tournament. He tore his ACL. And they have him now. And as important Jeremiah Robinson Earl was to them, Gillespie is 10 times that. Like he is that important to this team. We'll get to Final Four at the end. Just a quick little thing. But Kansas versus whoever they play. I'm moving on Kansas. Kansas in March, and we'll make fun of them, but they're not going to lose to a 16 seed. San Diego State, Creighton. I love San Diego State in this matchup.
So do I.
You do?
I think Matt Bradley's going to have about 20, 25. And they're really good.
It's a one-man show. One man.
It is.
San Diego State is the second best defensive team in the country. but right behind Texas Tech. And I think I don't have it, but I'm starting to convince myself that San Diego State will beat Kansas in the second round.
Oh, no. Come on.
If I had to pick one, so let's say the 1 versus the 8-9 winner in the tournament. You got Gonzaga, Memphis, where I'm going about what we have right now. Gonzaga, Memphis, Baylor versus Marquette, right? And then you have Arizona versus, you say Seton Hall, I say TCU, doesn't matter. One of those two. And then Kansas, San Diego State. What is the most likely to happen in your opinion?
Baylor, Marquette.
Baylor, Marquette?
I think Marquette has shown that they can beat those. I mean, they went on that run in the Big East. They were beating everybody. I mean, they beat Villanova. They can win those games, whether they will or not. You know, obviously, I think they peaked, but they have that potential. I don't think San Diego State has enough to beat Kansas offensively. Like, I just don't think.
I don't think you're right. I don't think their offense it's good. I don't think it's good at all, but their defense is incredible. It is good. Like it's incredible. And I think Kansas has struggled with that. They beat Texas Tech. It was close. They lost to Tech. They went 2-1 against Texas Tech this year. Right. And so San Diego State presents something that Texas Tech doesn't have. I'm not saying they're better. I'm not saying they're better, but Matt Bradley is an incredible offensive player. And if they kind of have that on their side, it helps. Kansas has obviously shown like they were a one-man show for a lot of the year with Ochai Agbaji. Obviously, some guys started to step up near the end of the year. And I kind of think that is a bad matchup for Kansas because I think San Diego State should be about a 6 seed, 7 seed. Having them as an 8 seed is a little low. Them versus Kansas will be very, very interesting.
It will be a good game. It definitely will be a good game.
I think we're kind of riding off Creighton. I didn't mean to, but
I think without your point guard, I mean, I know they've made this run. It's been awesome. Playing a team like San Diego State is not ideal.
Not good. They're going to get suffocated in your face. Yeah. Suffocating. I forgot it all about
San Diego State is that team.
San Diego State and Texas Tech are the definition of suffocating this year. Iowa, Richmond, hilarious at their 12 seed. I think there's maybe 3 13 seeds that are better than them. It was obviously committee being lazy and just putting them there. Iowa by maybe 1,000 points in my eyes. This is a 1-5-12. That's not really close.
I think they are the hottest team. They're the hottest team in the country.
The hottest team in basketball right now.
It's not even close. Keegan Murray is unbelievable. I mean, going back to the Indiana game, like I didn't even realize he was 8 of 10 on threes.
8 threes. 8 of 10, 80%, 8 threes. That's like insane.
It was unreal. They are, and I hate it too because I hate Fran and I hate Bohannon.
This is his best team. This is best team. I think. Remember when I said Keegan Murray is more important in the tournament than Luka Garza? I was being serious. People, I don't know how people reacted to that because Luka Garza was National Player of the Year. Keegan Murray brings a different element. Like he is actually like game changing. He's one of the best shooting big men I've ever seen in my life. Like I don't think that's arguable.
They're better defense. I mean, they beat Purdue in the Big Ten championship, and the game was in the 60s.
Yeah,
like they shut them down. And Keegan Murray and Bohannon, they played like shit. They didn't even shoot well.
Yes. One thing I will say about Iowa that scares me. I think they're my pick out of this region. I think we both agree on that. But one thing that scares me about this Iowa team, they are incredibly volatile throughout the game. Not game by game, but throughout the game. You saw it in Indiana. They start off down 15-2. And then they creep back up and they're up somehow in a span of like this. But then they're down and like big in the second half. And they come back. Happened in the Purdue game. It wasn't as extreme, but Purdue would go on these runs. Iowa would lose their lead a little bit, and then would have. You can't do that in the tournament. You have to like step on people's throats in the tournament.
Yes,
I will say that about
the
Iowa.
Fact that they played better defense against Purdue just really cemented my okay, they're going. Like they're gonna be really tough to beat.
Problem is, like, I'm looking at this, like, there's not a lot of incredible offensive big men, like actually like traditional in this region. There's not a lot of incredible offensive big men.
There's not any bad matchups, really,
right? Which helps because Keegan Murray playing the 5. Like, I know they have that guy that comes off the bench, whatever, but Keegan Murray in their death lineup plays the 5.
Yes.
And he was guarding Trace for a lot of that game. He's good. He's fine. He can hold his own, but he can get dominated. Like, Trace still had almost 30 on him.
Oh, yeah.
So
they basically were just playing they're just banking on hitting more threes, and
they did.
They hit a lot of them. A lot of threes.
They're incredible. Like this, like Chris Murray.
I hate Fran too, man. I can't stand them.
I can't
stand them.
I was watching with my dad, and he had so many comments throughout the game. He had so many comments on Keegan Murray. He was so intrigued by this guy because when he kept hitting threes, I was telling him, I was like, "You want the Pacers to grab him?" Because we
that's what I was.
about.
Yeah.
And he goes, "We don't need a guard, do we?" I was like, "Dad, he plays the 4." He goes, "He plays the 4 and he's shooting threes like that? Like, it's incredible." And and then he had a lot of problems with. He said it was illegal that him and Chris Murray were on the same team. They can just switch jerseys if one gets in foul trouble. I was like, okay, I'm not having this conversation.
Could be confusing though. Can you imagine if they did switch jerseys and you game plan for
one's lefty though?
One's lefty. So it's like
Chris
he's good too.
Yeah.
He is good too coming up. I don't know, man. They're dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Iowa a lot. Hopefully they're one of those teams that everybody's fallen in love with, and it's like that can get
hopefully it doesn't
get sketchy. Yeah. Providence, South Dakota State is maybe the most this is the one matchup I saw and I was like, I know who I'm picking. As soon as it popped on my TV. South Dakota State. Chalk. Sharpie. What?
Providence.
Okay. I'm definitely taking South Dakota spread. I'm definitely taking that. Because the game is it's 2. It's 2.
I'll take Providence.
You're taking Providence spread.
Yeah.
Every game that Providence plays seems like it's won by like a point. South Dakota State.
It will. It at least will be a push.
South Dakota State is them and UAB are the best on that line. South Dakota State's offense is incredible. I want to see where they kind of rank in this. In this, I have them as the 7th best offense in this tournament. The 7th best offense in this tournament, and that's incredible from, they're right behind Gonzaga, Purdue, Iowa, Duke, Kentucky, and Arizona. I think they beat Providence, man. I think they do it. You think the what keeps going?
Yes. One more game.
One more game. Okay. I can see them winning, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think South Dakota State, first of all, should have been a 12 seed. So they're kind of screwing Providence in this manner, but it'll be interesting. LSU, Iowa State. Look, Iowa State's kind of they're kind of the pick that, and I know you're going to pick Iowa State because of what you said about 11 and 6s. I think LSU is going to surprise a lot of people in this tournament. No Will Wade, hand up, that hurts. Not having your coach, but I mean, this is their last hurrah. Like LSU, who knows when the next time they're going to be in the tournament. Like nobody knows. Like they could be postseason banned.
Everybody's transferring from that team.
Yeah.
Anybody eligible is gone. Like that's going to be really interesting. It's going to be like a Tom Crean Georgia situation without the allegations. Like his whole team is going to leave.
Yeah. Adam Miller, come here. Come to Kentucky.
He hasn't played this year, which is crazy.
Hasn't even played. Yeah.
I think Iowa State wins. I don't know. The optics around LSU is not good. It's too risky of a morale. I mean, I don't know what the morale of the team is. Like maybe they're just, let's just move on. Let's get out of here.
I maybe, but I think
it's a good success story if they do
yeah,
win, though.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, because they're just kind of like, okay, the world's against us right now. Let's if they like Will Wade, they're going to be playing for him. Like,
I mean, can we just say this though? Efton Reed definitely got paid. Like
it was
committed.
the most obvious thing I've ever seen. He was committed
Just
to Pitt.
immediately paid him 100,000, 150,000, and he flipped. Like he had the graphic released and then he deleted it. I think Will Wade saw it, had him on like post notifications, and called him immediately. It was like, I will pay you $150,000 to delete that and come to LSU. And he was like, all right, sounds good. I'll take the money.
Will Wade, I will say, I know he's fired, whatever. He was confident. I wouldn't even call him like he did not care. Like he was putting it out there in the open and he never denied anything. Like he was just like, I mean, do what you want with me, but you know what I will bring to the table.
Yeah.
Will Wade to Louisville.
Oh God.
Wisconsin Colgate, man. Colgate. I fell in love with them last year. They have a lot of losses. They still have a good team. They're fine. Whatever.
Not on them.
Not on them either. Year. A lot of people are saying that Colgate can win against Wisconsin. I don't think it will happen. Probably the most likely 14-3 upset because like Yale's not beating Purdue, Longwood's not beating Tennessee, and whoever's playing. Yeah, Montana State is not beating Texas Tech. So like this is probably the most likely, sure, but I mean.
Just don't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either, especially if Johnny Davis is back, to what he can do. USC Miami is gross and is a game for sickos, and I hate it so much. I think both these teams are bad. I think both these teams are overseeded. I don't like either of these teams, and I think they're both going to get killed by Auburn next round anyways. If I had to pick a team, Miami. I'll take Miami because Isaiah Wong is awesome. Cam McGusty is good. They don't play any defense. They don't play a lick of defense. Like their defensive rating is god awful. And then you look at USC, who is they're just frauds. I mean, they're 4-4 in quad one, which is fine. 5-1 in quad two, and 11-2 in quad three. They got swept by Stanford, and for that reason, I'm not picking them first round.
Really? I'm picking them. I just don't believe in Miami at all. Like ACC, it's like I don't think I've picked an ACC team. I'm trying to think. I didn't pick UNC. I didn't pick Miami.
Pick Duke.
Who else did they?
I mean,
Duke. Yeah, you have. In the first round.
Yeah, you took Virginia Tech.
I did.
You're gonna have to change that, aren't you?
Yep. Where's it at? Where's that pick at?
Texas. It's in the East region.
This is for the narratives.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, you got to do whatever you can. Yeah.
Man, yeah. They're going to lose to Purdue anyway, so whatever. Oh, man. I hate the ESPN bracket app. It sucks.
It sucks. Why don't we make our own app?
Yeah, we should, honestly.
All right. Next year incoming.
Texas.
HNC bracketology.
Texas is moving on. Live change.
That's fair. That's fair. Just because of your ACC, you hate them so much.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Auburn, Jacksonville State. I'm picking Auburn, but I've seen a lot of people picking Jacksonville State.
What's the spread? Do you know?
I can find it real quick.
I mean, Auburn is a team that has had trouble beating those bad teams. Like, I mean, they almost lost to Georgia. Pretty sure they had a close one with Vandy at one point.
A close one with Missouri. 1-1 against Missouri.
So, I mean, I get why people would pick them, but I just don't. They're not going to lose in the first round.
It is 15.5. It's low. It's pretty low.
I would say Auburn's going to win that one.
You think you're going to cover? I'm kind of on J-State cover.
I can see it. That's a game I don't want to touch. It's like right in the middle there. It's like, yeah, man, I just don't. That's a game I'm not betting on.
I don't blame you at all. But that's the tournament. And so okay. One more thing before I let you go, because I know we're pushing out as much content as possible. Best time of the year. The best intro is back. I don't know if did you listen to the Spaces on pod?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
On the podcast, you heard the theme's back. The March Madness theme is back in full force. Anyways, Final Fours, after a couple days to kind of sleep on it. Mine has changed. I'm going with my real one, not the one to try and run away from yours. But I want to hear it. You can go first.
Gonzaga, Baylor, Arizona, Iowa.
So you have 3 1 seeds.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Chalk. I'm going Gonzaga, Kentucky. This Tennessee Villanova is really messing with my head a lot. I've said Tennessee since the beginning, so I'll stick with them. Tennessee, and then give me Iowa. Yeah, I want to pick against Iowa. I really do. Just because everybody's kind of on them, and I want to be a contrarian just a bit. But,
change mine.
Okay.
Tennessee and Iowa now. But I can't. Okay, so the Baylor one I hate.
So now we're 3 or 4 again.
But it is. I think Kentucky does lose to Purdue. So in that theory, I can't pick Purdue to go to the final. I can't pick Purdue to go to the. Matt Painter's not going to beat Baylor. Like, that's not going to happen. So that's why I have to pick Baylor. I don't even like Baylor.
So you really don't think Kentucky can beat Purdue?
I think they can. I do. Who guards Jaden Ivey, though?
It will probably be Ty. It will be a mix of Ty. Ty's been awesome perimeter defensively. You can make fun of him all you want. He is a little bit undersized, but he's been awesome defending on the perimeter.
He's gonna break his ankle.
Oh, dude, why'd you say that?
Ivy's gonna cross
bad player to say that about. Don't say that. Anyways, I think Ty's really stepped up his game on defense. He really has since the beginning of the year. So I think he'll be fine. Obviously, Ivy's going to get his. I'm not saying he's going to shut him down by any means, but nobody is going to stay in front of Severe. Well, let's be honest. They're not going to put Ivy. They're not going to put Ivy on him. Who's going to stay?
Eric Hunter
is not going to stay in front of Severe.
He's a good defender. He's the best defensive player, the best defensive guard they have, and he's been good for 4 years. He's been a solid defender since he got there. The offensive game has never come to fruition, but he has always been that defensive player who guards you full court. He is a pest. I can't stand him. He's so annoying. He will in a similar way to Severe, probably. Severe likes to get up and down. He probably
you saw what Severe almost brought Kentucky back in that game at the end when he started full court pressing. Like, I'm as impressed with Severe right now as I was at the beginning of the season, and his offense took a step back.
I hate both the coaches too, so it's like I can't even say one has an advantage over the other. I would say Cal would.
Wait, you can't say. Wait, no. You can't say that Coach Cal has an advantage over Matt Painter. You can't say that.
Like, coaching,
objectively,
coaching, like just purely off of coaching
success.
No, but tournament success, yes. But like strategy wise, X's and O's, Painter's probably better than him. He just is a choke artist.
Matt Painter his resume is very funny.
Yeah. I just don't think. Look, Oscar is the guy for Kentucky, and I think he's going to get frustrated, man. He has not played against Big Ten bigs like Purdue's. He just hasn't. It's a whole different game.
We'll see.
And if he gets in foul trouble when they apparently every time Edie travels and then elbows you in the face and they call Oscar for the foul, he's going to get frustrated. He just will.
I'm just saying, I think you have made the point about Oscar. There's a chance that he gets in foul trouble. You've made that point multiple times. I think there's as much of a chance for Big Ten bigs to get in foul trouble because when you watch the Big Ten tournament, they battle each other down low. It happens. We'll see how the refs
Purdue's
call it in
got
the
two
tournament.
of them,
It's fair. We have an enforcer.
though. Who?
I'm not saying it because you'll make fun of me.
Oh, please say it.
No,
Please
that's
say it.
You know who I'm gonna say. But no, in all honesty, that's not the game for him to come in. But if we need somebody to kind of bring a little hustle or any energy or something, not for scoring, not really for skill at all, he can provide something at least. And I think Damian,
I want you to
Lance
say
Ware, Lance Ware. I think Damian Collins, I think one of Damian Collins and Bryce Hopkins is going to get in one of these games and have an impact. I'm just saying. That's probably some Kentucky bias. I'm just telling you, maybe a Marcus Lee situation from our Final Four run a couple of years ago.
Oh my God.
And with that said, that is the podcast.
That's how we're going to close this.
Yeah, that's how we're going to close it. On some complete Kentucky bias at the end of the pod. You had to wait for it.
Not to close. I'll be live tweeting from the game tonight, IU game. We'll try to stay as rational as I can.
Don't be negative. Don't be negative. Don't be that you're here. You're here, right?
No, they need to beat Wyoming. Come on, can't lose this one. I get it if you go lose to St. Mary's, flight, playing on a Thursday after a Tuesday. Like I get all the context, whatever. You cannot lose a home game to Wyoming. You've got time to rest. The crowd's going to be, there's no excuses. They have to win. But I'll try to be nice. I'll try to be positive.
Just be positive. Just be positive for me because this is a big day for you. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
That's not going to happen.
Love you guys.